right. Well, thank you everyone for joining us today. We're very excited to have everyone here to talk about the Health Equity and Action for Latinos. It's a grants program, and my name is Daniela Flores, working with Comité Cívico del Valle, and we also have Christian here. Christian, I don't know if you want to introduce yourself briefly.
Sure. Good morning, everybody. I'm Christian Torres with Comité Cívico del Valle. I'm the Special Projects Manager here, and coordinating with Daniela on the HEAL program to do regranting in Imperial County.
Great. So we have a presentation prepared for you all. It'll take around 15, 20 minutes to go over the material, depending on how many questions come up. And then we will have some dedicated question and answer time at the end. So please feel free to stop us as questions come up. Feel free to put any questions in the chat or any comments that you might have. And so we'll get started now. All right. Christian, did you want to get started with this slide?
Sure. Thank you, Daniela. So the HEAL program is a regranting program that CCV is implementing with funding by the California Wellness Foundation, the Latino Community Foundation, and the California Endowment. The program's priority is to fund groups through small grants that are working in addressing community needs due to COVID-19, health, social justice, food access and food security, housing, chronic illnesses, working conditions, legal assistance, and other community needs that groups in Imperial County are working on. The grants are going to be awarded between $5,000 to $15,000. The application period started in early November, so November 4th, and it runs until December 4th, with applications closing out at 11:59 p.m. And applications which are selected for funding are going to be awarded in January 2021. We have an advisory board that will be doing evaluations of the applications in December, and we're hoping to reach out to everybody mid-January for who's selected for funding. So there's going to be many different ways that you can apply. The first one is applying at the website for the program, which is ccvhealth.org/heal. There is an apply online button there on the website, which you can fill out the form, which is the application questions, which we'll go over in a little bit. You can also email your completed application by downloading a PDF and the attachments and sending it over email to heal@ccvhealth.org. You can also send it through USPS or courier service to the offices of Comité Cívico del Valle. The address for CCV is on the side. Or you can also drop it off at our office and let us know that is your application for the HEAL program. Again, to reiterate, the deadline for the applications is December 4th by 11:59 p.m. So we will be looking at the postmark or the time they were submitted online or emailed. And like I mentioned before, we're going to go over the application, and here it is. First part of the application is the general information for your organization, who the contact person is going to be. It's a standard application, which like everybody that does granting, we ask for your EIN number, if you have an online website or Facebook presence, and whether you're a registered 501c3, or if you have a fiscal sponsor to receive the program. That is one of the requirements. We are requiring that you have either a fiscal sponsor or you are a registered nonprofit. The second part of the application is the more detailed information. So this is where we start with the project name that you have, a brief description of your organization, how you plan to use the funds, and what the need for your project is in the community. All these questions are pretty short. We have a word maximum count of 300 to 200 words for these questions, and you can see them on screen and on the website as well, to give you guys a chance to finish this application pretty quickly and be able to submit a succinct plan. Next slide. We also have this specific question in here and in our application, which is technical assistance required for implementing the project. We want to be able to support your projects and any projects that you may wish to start with this funding. So we are opening up our resources here at CCV, whether it's you might need assistance in drafting some communication strategy for it, or you need specific connections to be made with certain local groups or local agencies. So we want to provide our capacity to help you in fulfilling your project successfully. Daniela?
All right, so I will be going over this slide, and the next question that you'll find in the application is a work plan. And so depending on the project that you have in mind, you might apply for, a six-month program or a 12-month program, but regardless, we're asking for a work plan that outlines how you hope to achieve what you're set out to do. So we're asking folks to put this work plan together that has 3 expected outcomes that you hope that will result from the grant, and one to two indicators that will show you that you're achieving the result that you're intending. And so again, you have sort of like the ability to define what success would look like for this grant and like what you think is achievable, depending on the type of grant that you're applying for. And again, in a few slides, we'll go over some of the support that we have as you complete these, if you have questions.
And we do provide a sample draft budget for you guys to submit with your project. The sample draft budget is outlined here, and you can download it online at the link that's provided in the slideshow. The slides will be uploaded to the website later today. We just ask that you fill it out, and there's attention to be paid to the last 2 columns, which is the HEAL request, which is the request you're making for this specific grant. If your grant is the only one paying for your project, I think it'll be fine to leave the last column blank. And that the last column is if you're leveraging funds from another source to complete your project. We just want to know that we're helping and we're helping and implement it in a successful manner.
And Christian, for this one, what I'll add, we've been meeting with different folks, and one question that came up about the budget was around like the personnel and the staff. You do not have to use these funds to to pay staff to implement your program if you're leveraging funds from a different source, but you do have the option to use these funds to pay staff to support the initiative that you're working on, or it can go to like the direct costs or materials that are involved. So I got that question, so I wanted to share that bit. So we want to go over these next few slides, additional information, talking about eligibility and who might be interested in applying. As Christian mentioned, we're looking for those organizations that are 501c3 status, or that have an identified fiscal sponsor that is able to manage the funds. And that fiscal sponsor contact would be provided in this application. We would love to, for our grantees to have demonstrated need for the program or the project. There should be a demonstrated sort of capacity to deliver quality programming and to meet the goals that are laid out in the work plan. We're looking for organizations that have that will implement programs that will have a positive benefit for our community, organizations that are addressing the needs around COVID. And so we define those needs holistically. So, we know and we acknowledge that health, it is influenced by many factors. And so we know food and housing and our health status all contribute to our well-being. And so we know that COVID impacts all aspects of life. So this grant is really open to hearing your ideas about the type of needs that you think are needed. And we are looking for this grant to be addressing the needs of vulnerable communities in our county. In specifically, like, we've listed some out here in the slide, but we know that there are a lot of vulnerable and just communities that are disproportionately impacted by COVID and issues related. So after after organizations are notified that they are, approved for this grant, if notified, then you would need to submit these additional requirements. So a 501c3 status letter, we would need to see the most recent 1099 form, and a complete, and for those organizations to complete a W-9 form for the award. So as
Hello?
part, oh, hello,
Yes,
welcome.
I'm on by phone.
Welcome. Thank you so much. We're
Thank
going
you.
over a few slides, and we'll be giving them for, I'll make sure that I read everything out so that you are able to hear it. And then we'll also be, we can circle back to other items that we've already posted, because I know some folks joined us after we started. So we can certainly come back to answer any additional questions.
Okay, thank you very much.
You're welcome. So after, you might be wondering like what the expectations might be for those that get awarded. And so we have created a, a process that is pretty streamlined. We would ask that grantees check in with myself or Christian on a quarterly basis. Through these we're still designing whether it would be like with other grantees and like what those meetings would look like, but we would want to know the status of the implementation, and if we need to provide any support for you all to implement it. We will provide a template for a final report that you will submit at the end of the grant period. And then we also just ask that grantees use the logo of the initiative, and whenever they're, hosting any events or just having any, as you implement your program, if there's any materials that you produce, we just ask that the initiative logo is included, and we'll provide all of those materials. We do have technical assistance and application assistance as you complete these that are due in December. We want to make sure that we make ourselves available to answer any questions that come up as you complete it. So we have a link where you can sign up for one-on-one calls with myself or Christian. And we have also listed the emails of where you can email us directly. So the email if you would like to email us, you could do christian@ccvhealth.org or daniela@ccvhealth.org. The general email that will also, you can use if it's easier to remember, it's heal, HEAL @ccvhealth.org, or you can reach us by phone at 760-351-8761, extension 115. You can leave a voicemail if no one answers, and we will be sure to give you a call back. So at this point, I'd like to see if there are any initial questions that are coming up. I know, again, folks joined us after we had covered some of the material, but this presentation will be posted online. And then also I'm able to go back to some slides if folks have specific questions. So at this point, I'll open it up to our attendees.
Oh,
Uh,
hello. This is Marlene. I have a question. You've done a beautiful job of explaining, but this is curiosity. I see that immigrant families and agriculture workers are eligible my question, um, will they be compelled to have the same qualifications as the rest of us as a 501c3? Because I just don't see how that may be available. But would you make that exception for them? I think that would be important to me to know.
Um, Marlene, are you wondering if what I'm hearing is organizations that apply could be serving any one of these communities. Is that?
No, no, it's just curiosity, and my brain is going like that. I was just wondering how agricultural workers normally would not have the status of the eligibility criteria that you're requesting. And I was just wondering, would you have something in place if agricultural workers came up and said, hey, we would like to do so-and-so, but we do not have the, 501c3, et cetera.
Totally.
I'm just curious.
Yeah, no, that's a really great question, Marlene. So what we've been doing is basically we have the process of, for folks that are not a 501c3, they can identify a fiscal sponsor. And so what we've been doing, so I've had folks reach out to me that are in that situation. And so what we are doing is basically having conversations to share information about what a fiscal sponsor is, what it might take to get a fiscal sponsor. And so we have had those conversations with people that have reached out. And so we do anticipate having some people apply that aren't 501c3s, but are trying to organize a project and identify an organization that can help them manage the funds and really just like process the expense reports, like those type of things that are like administrative. And so we certainly are facilitating conversations to help folks understand like what needs to be done for the fiscal sponsorship and so that, those projects can be carried out. And we're also really encouraging partnership. And that's part of it where, those folks are looking to partner with an organization, maybe it's the agriculture workers that have the ideas, have the contacts, have the location, and they need an organization to essentially help. And so that's where a partnership would really be strong. So that kind of collaboration we're definitely encouraging and also helping facilitate conversations around.
Okay, that answers my question. So you are addressing that because I think that's very important, to be honest. That's it.
Absolutely. Thank you for your question, Marlene.
Mhm.
Any other questions coming up for folks? Anything that you feel like we should have covered that you still have questions around?
So I see a question in the chat from Guadalupe Ponce. So we have a fund of $100,000 to be distributed among the grantees. So it will be a different number of grants depending on what is being asked for and what we can fund. But it will total to $100,000.
I do have a comment sort of, Daniela or Christian.
Go ahead, Kathy.
I wanted to know, okay, so that would be like, say, as a chamber here in Calipatria or North End, on the North End, if we wanted to apply for the grant and say we had one or the other, or we would be under their umbrella, sort of what Marlene was asking. We could do partnerships with different entities to find someone to sponsor us.
That's right.
Would that work? Would that work?
That works
Okay.
as long as you include them there. As long as they're a 501c3 and you include them in the application. I'll show you. Number 8 is going to show, it's going to ask you if you're registered 501c3. Essentially, there's a drop down where you can press no. And if not, then it will ask you if you have a fiscal sponsor, and it'll pop up a contact information box where you fill out their info there.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
And the information we need for your fiscal sponsor is generally the same questions that are here on screen right now. It's the same information that will need to be filled out for them.
Okay.
Oh, and I do want to state this because it is a question I got asked as well when I was doing some conversations with people. These grants are not reimbursement grants. We want to give some of the money, at least half of the money they're required for the projects upfront, and then the next half if needed, right? We want to be able to give the resources to you guys to do the work ahead of time so that you're not trying to work on reimbursement, because we know that not everybody has the capacity to work on reimbursement. So we want to be able to skip that or get over that hurdle for the organizations.
Okay.
So I'm going to add the website to where you can find the program information in the chat. If you haven't already visited the website, I encourage you to look in there. You can find the application in both English and Spanish. And you can also find a frequently asked question form. You can also, that's where you would find the links to sign up for one-on-one calls with either myself or Christian. And you can also find the application PDF. And if you want to download and print, or you can also find the button to apply online where you would submit the form. Any other questions coming up? Anybody, wondering if their project, is something that could be considered? Any other questions at all? This would be the time to ask.
I do, Daniela.
Go ahead, Kathy.
I wanted to know, there's a lot of, community outreach as far as giving food every week, which is great, from the churches and different community, the churches and different, the Lions Chamber is, but it kind of concentrates on food, rent, which is great, and utilities and things such as that. I was wondering if a project maybe for, and as far as the COVID, like for the homeless and just the community in general, for like soap and cleaning items for a person's home, things that aren't included in the giveaways that people are really concentrated on, kits for personal hygiene for men and women, things like that, Daniela, that I'm thinking that, are scarce, or either people don't really have the money to buy.
Yeah, I think that's a really important point you bring up, and certainly there's been different projects that we've just heard that are interested in applying for. So I mean, that's one that definitely, like other folks have acknowledged as being a priority.
Oh, okay, thank you.
But I also think that there are different groups that might be focused on different populations, right? Like different areas in the city or in the county. So,
Yes.
certainly we want to encourage anyone who has any idea to propose it. You all know
Because I see where
community.
that's a need for on the north end. There's a lot of, they're giving away a lot of food. And of course, there's other, they pay rent, utilities, but sometimes even the working and people who've gone laid off or, homeless, or just, it's hard for everyone right now. And those type of items are scarce, even toilet paper, unfortunately, but that was my question. Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. Well, if there, I definitely, if there are folks with questions, I'm seeing that I wanted to check in because Lupe Quintero, I don't think that the audio connect has connected, and I'm not sure if you're on the phone on another line already and you were able to get the information, but we're just gonna make sure that we reach out to you, Lupe, if you can hear us. Well, I'm not sure if you're on a different line, but we'll reach out to Lupe to make sure she gets the information. But just want to thank you all for being here today and just really appreciate your time. We hope that this information was helpful, and we will be available again anytime between now and December 4th as you submit those applications if you have any questions at all. But we hope that you find this application process smooth and hopefully not burdensome. So thank you so much again. It's a pleasure seeing so many people on here today.
Thank you.
Okay, well have a great day and
Thank
stay
you.
safe, everyone.
Yeah, happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving. Take care.
Same to you.
Bye, Kathy.
Bye. I'll talk to you guys later.
Talk soon. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.